In Brown versus Board of Education, the famous case that desegregated schools in the 1950s, Dr. Kenneth Clark conducted a doll test with black children. He asked them to choose between a black doll and a white doll. In most instances, the majority of the children preferred the white doll. I decided to reconduct this test as Dr. Clark did to see how we've progressed since then. Can you show me the doll that you like best or that you'd like to play with?
This one. I like that one.
Show kids.
I'm killing.
This one.
That one?
This one. I like to play with this.
And can you show me the doll that is the nice doll? And why is that the nice doll?
He's white.
And can you show me the doll that looks bad? Okay. And can you and why does that look bad?
Because it's black.
And why do you think that's a nice doll?
Because she's white.
And can you give me the doll that looks like you? "15 out of the 21 children preferred the white doll."
Aloha. That video was meant to set the tone of vibration in relation to how we experience our reality, and just show a proof for people who haven't seen that, or even for people who have seen that before, how deep this programming goes in reference to power and understanding from the perspective of the people, and how deep this programming goes. So, like in previous videos, when I mention white supremacy or white privilege, specifically white privilege, I'm not coming from the perspective of jobs and anything like that. Anything that I'm speaking on, it's in the 90th percentile of coming from it from an energetic perspective. So when I speak about white privilege, I'm speaking about the fact that there is a definite energy existing in the way melanated people experience their reality based upon the colonial universe, that so-called non-melanated people, or white people, whatever, will never have to experience, ever. That affects vibration, the vibration of humanity. That affects the vibration of each individual and the collective overall. When I bring these issues up, I'm bringing it up because there's an intention there that sends a shockwave through the entire experience, that if it's not at all acknowledged, we won't be able to make any progress as an individual, a race of people, nations, or humanity as a whole, the natural system. It will never be able to take place if we don't understand the origins and the depths of this process that needs to be healed. We don't understand this because we are constantly bombarded by the vibrations of distraction, separation, and limitation based upon what we are supposed to think things are, what we are supposed to think change is, what we are supposed to think is important, based upon repeated systems like climate change and the New World Order and the Illuminati and all this other stuff, politics, Trump, race relations based specifically on this generic fear and hatred driven perspective. There's no intellectual discussion on race. And this is what I wanted to get into this video, focus on how race relates to the vibrations of humanity overall, and how we experience the frequency of the physical density, and how that relates to dimensions, because how we experience our reality is based upon all kinds of we are 360-degree beings. We have all different kinds of facets to our experience. It's not just about your emotional body and your physical body. We're so much deeper than our emotions and our physicality. But you can see how we get shrunk down into a generic, whitewashed form of reality to have actual children literally hate themselves. That video was sharing with you a vibration of energy that exists inside children. Largely, a lot of these children get this information before they even go to school. So what do you think happens when they go to school and interact with teachers and interact with other kids? They continue that process of hating themselves. Hatred is a similar vibration to the frequency of fear. It is destructive. It is low vibrating. It is not able to grow. It's not able to know itself. It's not able to communicate. It can't experience reality, because if you don't understand who and what you are, then you're not going to be able to empower yourself. If you're constantly stuck in a vibration that is based upon reaction and self-destruction, then you will never be able to create. And this is what this destructive intelligence is based upon. If 9/10 of the people on the planet are what I'm calling melanated, so, and for people who have seen this, it's a whole different spectrum of understanding, but for speaking purposes, I'd rather use the term melanated and non-melanated in reference to interchangeable with black and white. I'm trying to shift out of that. And I understand, and keep in mind also, there's also melanin and neuromelanin. And neuromelanin is the melanin that exists within the body that has no color. It's not really it's not really referenced to the skin at all. So I understand. So just understand when I'm saying melanin and non-melanated, I'm referencing the nations of people, pretty much, and to get to a closer vibration of what we're really talking about here, other than the terms like black and white. So, vibration, we're talking about vibration. These babies are being born into a vibration of hatred, self-hatred, destruction, and fear. When your parents, these kids that were saying, those babies, that's the good baby, that's the bad baby. Oh, and I look like this baby, so I am the bad baby. And my parents are also the bad baby. We are constantly creating a system that is energetically going to work against us. And this is where these disembodied entities work, in energy, vibration, in frequency. This is why the television is so manipulating your emotional body. And this is why I say it's so important to recognize the ancestral importance of this so-called conscious awakening, and even in reference to specifically the flat earth realm. The realm itself is a vibration. The globe model is just another vibration of self-hatred, because you don't know nature. You don't know the stars as they know you consciously. You don't know the so-called planets as they know you consciously. We don't know the sun and the moon as the sun and the moon knows us consciously. When that separation happens, we lose something. We're losing vibration. We're losing connection. We're losing frequency. And when you lower your frequency down to a hatred, of fear, and ignorance, you are more susceptible to be controlled. And this is how this is the intention of the globe model, the heliocentric model. The heliocentric model specifically in reference to this video of focusing attention on a particular light, focusing attention on a particular vibration, on an idea, and simultaneously stealing the focus away from the origins of your existence. And at the same time, when you've been uprooted, you need something to root yourself in. This is why the synthetic world is so expanded in our reality and forced upon our children to create low vibrations and low frequencies, so that those children can grow up to young adults and adults who will be completely oblivious to who and what they are, which will set the foundation to disempowerment and furthermore zero interaction in their creative life force. This is why everything is so imbalanced, so destructive, and these in-between frequencies are manipulated to have an effect on us over entire lifetimes. So what this image that you're looking at now and the video that you've seen at the beginning of this video is no different than what the Jesuits and Christopher Columbus and the so-called settlers and colonizers did when they came over to the Americas or anywhere that they colonized and said, you need to read this book, you need to pray to this God, you are primitive, you are savage. It's no different than those babies saying, that's the bad baby. Okay, well, what baby do you look like? Well, it's the bad baby. That's a vibration that exists and is being ignored largely when you have the ignorance of these celebrities making sandcastles out of a diseased sandbox and driving around shiny sandcastle cars and calling themselves, famous or whatever it is, based upon this is how the fiat currency ties into the self-hatred and the low vibrations of everything and the maintaining of the haves and the have-nots. As long as you continue to maintain this vibration within humanity, then the people will start to enslave themselves. This is what we are doing today. And this is why it's so important to realize that the acknowledgement is what is needed. Just I think in like the 12-step programs or whatever kind of programs, like whatever it is when they say like you have to acknowledge that you have a problem before whatever it is. See, that's what's going on right now with the flat earth realm, with the race relations and all that other stuff. The acknowledgement. This is about healing. If you do not heal, you will not be able to understand yourself. If you do not understand yourself, you will not be able to empower yourself. If you cannot empower yourself, you will not be able to create anything. Period. And if you can't do any of those, then you will be subject to slave master programs and illusions. This is what the collective and individuals are underneath today. We are lost in this idea of reality based upon illusionists who cannot even allow you to acknowledge the true history of this earth plane, the true history of humanity. I was just watching another video about this so-called disclosure the other day within the New Age community, where they were talking about the Ice Age and all this other stuff, and talking about like how the cradle of civilization started in Sumer and then moved to Greece. Like, this is David Wilcock actually talking and speaking about like how it's tunnel vision. It's a complex version of what we are currently experiencing today. See, the New Age just wants to throw some band-aids on this system. It doesn't want to actually heal. It doesn't want to actually acknowledge. It wants to expand off of this broken foundation so it can maintain power and control over the masses. This is what makes the New Age community so suspect in reference to the larger storylines of humanity, when they focus all of their energy on so-called aliens or extraterrestrials and giving their power away to disclosure, waiting for the slave masters to give you information when you don't need them to give you anything. It is only your responsibility to understand and find out who and what you are. You do not need a slave system to tell you anything or release anything. It's lazy. And that's a big part of why the New Age community is so booming, because we are some lazy ass individuals. Our vibrations have been so lazified over time, emotionally and actively. We're tired. It's tiring to look into information. It hurts emotionally to uncover this information about our people, ourselves. It's the most difficult thing ever to look at yourself. So, since that is known by the destructive intelligence, they say, well, we got them by the balls, so we'll just give them something easy. Put out ancient aliens. Put out some channelers. Put out some, make some UFO sightings. Keep it secret. Make a big disclosure fuss. That will continue to expand the universe. The heliocentric universal mentality. It'll expand the idea of the Mars program. The longer we don't say anything about the illusion of this space idea, it'll keep people from understanding their ancestors, because they'll be so wanting to understand extraterrestrials and so wanting to get off of this planet, so-called planet, and go with their star beings, because our vibrations have been lowered and our connections have been disconnected through illusions, disempowerment, separation, codependency, and so on and so forth. And it all starts in the beginnings of acknowledgement. And because I've been saying in all of my videos, before any kind of so-called forward progress happens. See, when people talking about this revolution shit on TYT and Alex Jones, they don't give a shit about healing. They only care about the economy. They only care about what the colonial program has put together. They are still worshiping the colonial idol. That is the max out point of Alex Jones when he worships Donald Trump and all that and anything else he's going to do. It's going to be in reference to that idea of revolution, which is the revolution on top of the colonial foundation. No different than TYT's idea of revolution in reference to political revolution. That's another layer. It's a layer within a layer, a box within the box. It was like a nigga Montoya says, I don't rap revolution. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means. It's this whole fake definition of reality in order to keep people from reading that children's dictionary instead of understanding the origins of the word. If people continue to read the children's definition of revolution, which is TYT and Alex Jones, Bernie Sanders and Trump and all that shit, then you will never understand the actual meaning, the energy of the word and the letters that make up that word and who you are, who is perceiving that word for example purposes of just energy overall. We don't know the depths of who we are. We don't know the lies that have been going on and on, the illusions that have been spread on and on over so many centuries are to cover up the true power and relationship that humanity has with nature, each other, and the entire earth realm as a whole. The experience of energy as a whole. The manifestation of consciousness in a body. A conscious being inside a finite body, an infinite soul in a finite body. These illusionists and so-called controllers are synthetic kings in a finite universe. And we've been worshiping and interpreting the human experience from the finite universe perspective for so long that any idea of change or movement is going to be based upon that finite universe. And this is a box within the box of the finite universe is the colonial universe, the heliocentric model, and all of this shallow ass version. This is why they keep playing the race card, because as long as the emotions get played with the race card, then you will never go into the depths of who and what you really are. You will never understand yourself outside of the colors black and white. You will never understand the relationship of energy and humanity and the earth plane. That will never be understood. The human experience is an alchemical manifestation. Your body being put together, the beauty, the complexities of this body and how we perceive this reality is of the most high creative intelligence. Our basic nature is of the most high creative intelligence. You don't have to go into the depths of, the flat earth and, the whatever, if you believe there's a dome or whatever it is and all this other stuff. Just look around, look at nature, look at everything that there is. This is not a mistake. This didn't just happen. If you water everything down, it's no different than Hollywood whitewashing everything. It's the same idea. As much as you get watered down in Hollywood, your culture, like all that Michael Jackson stuff that was coming out, and they had that actor playing him, and then all all this stuff that's been going on forever. This waters down your human relationship. It adds to that video, the energy of that video at the beginning of this video. It adds to that self-hatred. It adds to, as long as people are hating themselves, you have other people who are worshiping themselves and empowering themselves. This is how you can have extremely racist people that will lynch and own slaves and burn people. It is about sucking the humanity out of the conscious reality and locking people into such a low vibration that they actually their actions are more resonant of less than an animal consciousness, because sometimes humans will do even things that animals won't do. And it goes into that parasitic consciousness that I've been talking about in the last few videos. This is parasitism to de-evolve humanity on every level. And when you are okay with bombing other nations, bombing children and other communities for your own protection, that's no different than a parasite sucking the life out of your body, a cancer sucking the life out of your body for its own life. That is the parasitic consciousness. And that is how it's been manipulated through our own reality. There is a defined and divine difference between the human consciousness and the animal consciousness. And that same difference between the animal consciousness and the parasitic consciousness. And when we don't even understand that those realities exist, you will fall subject to them. Especially if they are manipulated and expanded with illusions and alchemy through the way you experience your reality, through the way you hear, through the way you have relationships, through the way you see, through the way you taste, through the way you interact with your energy cells, through the way you interact with your culture, your history, the sun, the moon, the stars, nature, separating yourself from nature, the way you see yourself. This is why they're trying to make men like women and women like men and so on, and blur that. It's like whitewashing nature. It's no different. It's the same thing. As long as everything gets washed, no different than the New Age community. When they say, we're all one, it's all one, it's one, it's unity. Unity will be peace. That is a response that is being amplified out of hopelessness, out of exhaustion, being so tired of destruction. It's reactionary. It's not truly understanding the reality. It's based upon destruction. It's not based upon understanding, understanding, and overstanding. So when you base your so-called change or your movement or your revolution, which is what's happening in the so-called alternative and so-called progressive movements, when you base it on destruction, you're already starting off on the wrong foot, because you haven't even made the acknowledgement of what's going on. This is why the New Age community is so broken inherently, because it doesn't even want to acknowledge energy. It doesn't want to acknowledge systems that have existed. It doesn't want to acknowledge the very nature of its repeating patterns that have led up to this destructive program right now. The New Age community is a microcosm of the macrocosm of self-destruction and collective destruction, just in a different light. Instead of war and destruction, it's in the perspective of so-called love and light. It's simple. It's basic. and it doesn't want to acknowledge anything that has gone on. It doesn't want to acknowledge the vibrations leading up to today. And if it doesn't even want to acknowledge it, it will never be allowed to heal. And that shit is difficult, because this is the thing. This is the deeper layer with the New Age community. Those people are healers in their own light. They have seen themselves as healers. They have been living as healers for decades. And it is the hardest thing in the world to tell a healer that they need to heal. So when you have a whole community of so-called healers who they themselves need healing, that created a movement, then it's going to take even longer for that to happen. And this is how you can create the expanded, separated universe of the extraterrestrial disclosure program, because they really think that something is happening, like the revolution is happening based upon the slave masters putting on television that the revolution is happening. You're basing your idea of evolution off of the slave master television show Ancient Aliens telling you that information is changing, or is being revealed, so this is going to... It's ridiculous. But it works. These illusions work. So this is about the acknowledgement of how deep we have to go. This whole African American is a box within a box of black and white. It's the same shit. It's empty. It's whitewashing your reality. You don't know what you really are when you call yourself black or white or African American. It's a non-acknowledgement. So once we start to acknowledge that there have been melanated people across the earth plane before any of these colonial history books were forced upon us with any kind of education system and the university system. Once we start to understand that that reality exists and has existed, then we will start to understand the relationship that humanity has with the earth plane on an energetic scale as a whole. How we perceive our reality and become closer to ourselves. If you don't know yourself, you won't be able to heal yourself. You'll be putting band-aids on yourself for the rest of your life if you don't know who you are and how deep these wounds go. That video at the beginning of this video is a deep ass wound that a lot of people are not even realizing or acknowledging that exists. That's why I said in the beginning, like, when I speak about white privilege, I'm not talking about no fucking jobs or the economy or shit like that. This is a psychological program. It's the spiritual warfare that manifests into the psychological warfare that manifests into the cancerous, parasitic body warfare, the military complex and the prison complex. And we are being hit from every angle, from the destructive angles and the so-called love and light, positive, creative, connected to God space, all that other shit. It's ignorant. It's pure ignorance to think that this intelligence that has enslaved an entire plane of people, so-called planet of people, is just a one-sided, like one sort of one-dimensional entity that will only rule with war and destruction. You don't think they've been creating systems of controlling with so-called peace and sustainable living? All those catchphrases that have been slowly installed with all these documentaries and these Facebook feeds and these so-called conscious websites. You don't think any of those are being controlled in some kind of way? That's no different than this channeler energy. I stopped looking at so-called conscious websites about a year ago, or a year and a half ago, because I started to see its intention. I was seeing exactly what it was doing. It was expanding the synthetic illusions of the New Age idea by focusing on what they wanted you to focus on, which, like I said, it's beautiful. Like all these like new things, like when somebody invents a solar stove that can help people feed, eat, and all this other thing, water and water cleaning devices and all this shit. That's wonderful. But when you don't acknowledge the fact that there's something else that's not being shared, that is actually equally, if not more important, vibratorily speaking, than the entire the entire scenario. If we don't understand that there's going to be two sides of this control grid, no less, then we'll fall subject to whatever gets put in front of us. So now that I set the tone of vibration and energy and interpreting our reality from realizing, acknowledging the beauty. See, we can acknowledge the destructive nature that has led up to how separated we are. But at the same time, you have to also acknowledge how deep these illusionists have to go to control us. So that means if they have to go that far, then there is a balance that we exist as. That is something really powerful in its essence. Without having to do anything or fight anything, you exist as that. This is what doesn't want to be acknowledged, because if you acknowledge your true empowered space of existence, then you will cease to be controlled. So this is why illusions like the term African American and black and white have to be created, watering down your reality, synthesizing your reality. This is why nationalism has to be created. This is why the heliocentric model has to be created. It's separating you, creating boxes within boxes within boxes so that you don't understand yourself. So how I've been seeing this is that the complexities, one way to explain the complexities of who and what we are is to see how we see, how we experience. And when I started to look, I did a video a while back about the rods and cones of the eyes and the black and white and the RGB, but I wanted to relate it to today, to vibration, and what I've been referencing in previous videos as the conscious and the subconscious reality married with the soul, the mind, and the body. So this is how I experience who and what I am right now. And this is how I see humanity experiencing this reality. is that we are the conscious being. This could be seen as the body, the linear projection, and the divine masculine. We are also the subconscious reality, which could be seen as the infinite divine feminine relationship. That could be seen as like black and white, or could be seen in many different ways, but it's a dualistic perspective, light and dark, electric and magnetic relationship that we are. But we're not one-dimensional like that. We are beyond that. We that is part of our reality, and it's not a bad thing. It exists. It has a relationship to this reality that we need to experience this. It has a purpose, is my main point. It has a purpose. What that purpose is, you can see it from however perspective you want, but it has a purpose. And if I see purpose coming from the Most High, then it's my responsibility to find out how that exists and not be consumed or distracted by the illusionist who wants you to utilize those perspectives against yourself. It's easy to say, oh, well, we're all one. Are you in that duality program and all that other shit? That's fucking lazy. It's lazy. So this is how I see my reality. Subconscious, conscious reality. I'm relating this to the rods in your eye that relate to light. Light, color, these are all vibrations. They are all waves. You are a vibration. You are a frequency. You are a wave existing in a realm of density. The body is solidified light. Your soul is a solidified light with some kind of musical harmonic that has been sent down through each and every one of your experiences that you have chosen to manifest and expand that harmony in whatever kind of way. And moving through the complexities of energy, we gain light, we gain perception, we gain energy, we gain the ability to perceive how we are experiencing our reality. So no different than the television going from, this is how the system is, how I'm seeing the system makes itself out to be God. It just reproduces the system that we have experienced. So the television tells you everything. It tells you the lie. It tells you the story that it needs to tell you. It told you that you went to the moon. It told you that, you should hate yourself because you don't look like Barbie. It told you that you should fight, go to Vietnam. It told you that you should fight a war on terror. It told you should do all these things that are actually more part of your enslavement. So this is how it goes from the king space to the God space when you're talking about life and death. So it just repeated the pattern of our existence. So when they put the black and white television, well, first it was sound. First you could just hear. You weren't even able to see yet. So we had the radio. And then you had in vibration. So we had the radio. You just listen. Then you had black and white television. Then you had color television. So this is how I'm seeing how we energetically manifested into this reality. And within all of those energy capabilities, you have more potential to express who and what you are on a deeper layer. This is why everything gets whitewashed. This is why you get simplified into this oneness and black and white and the nationalism and the African American and all this empty terminology. It's empty. It's plastic. It's to take you away from your soul essence that is not at all synthetic. It has nothing to do with plastic. So television is a plastic reality. So 120 million, this is 20 times more of these proteins or rods than there are cones. So this is how I'm seeing this came first. The subconscious and the conscious reality is the platform, is the foundation for you to experience the vibrations, the wavelengths of color. And then you have the color. They're both the same. They both interpret this light waves into proteins and fire off a signal that your brain can interpret into some kind of vision. So first there's light. They're all based upon light and how you perceive light, but first there was the adjustment to light. This is why it's so difficult to go from a dark place to a light place, because it like your eyes have to adjust. It needs time. It's easier because I don't want to get off into that eye talk right now. And to stay on the basics of conscious and the subconscious. That's one. You can see it as the rods and the cones. You can see it from that perspective. But for this perspective, I'm seeing it more as I want to focus it in on the actual manifestation of humanity and how we experience our reality on the earth plane. So the conscious and the subconscious reality can be seen as black and white, which is the rod's perspective. And it's just a basic sort of reality. Once you expand into a higher level of consciousness, then you are able to experience colors, higher wavelengths. So this can be seen as the higher chakras. So this could also be seen why some animals only see in black and white. So this could be seen as like the consciousness, and vibratorily speaking, they are able to express unconditional love and so on and so forth. But their potential and their ability to experience and express this reality is a little bit different than our human consciousness, our abilities. Our abilities are being de-evolved when we believe in the monkey evolution, the animal consciousness, the dinosaur theory, the Big Bang theory, the gravity theory, the relativity theory. All of these theories that create the foundation to this theoretical synthetic universe that is not at all theoretical when you understand how fucking ridiculous it is and the intention of why those theories were created in the first place, to control your ass. So anyway, I keep getting off. So we have the black and white, or the conscious and the subconscious. On the right side, I'm seeing that you also have the soul, the mind, and the body. So the black and white, or the conscious and subconscious, is just the experience, the plane itself. You have the divine. This is the dualistic plane, the black and white, the electric and magnetic. This is how I'm seeing the earth plane itself. That is the body. It is the foundation, the 20 times more lasting than anything else. This is why it's so ridiculous for them to be talking about climate change is going to destroy the world. Like, you don't have this fucking power. You might be able to fuck some stuff up. You might be able to make some animals go extinct and tear down some trees and all this other stuff, but ultimately you are still existing on a plane where that is far much older and more powerful than you could ever really interpret. So this is how they make themselves out to be more powerful, is to tell you that we have nuclear power and we can destroy the planet. We have destroyed with climate change and all this other stuff. And that's another limitation of history. They don't go into the depths of how many other hundreds of thousands or millions of years before that this plane of existence has been going up and down in its own climate change before anybody invented the car or the factory and all that other shit. So yes, it does have an effect on some layer, but it's short-sighted in order to maintain the illusion of power. So anyway, subconscious and the conscious, the earth plane. Then you have the human consciousness, the experience of the soul, the mind, and the body. The body itself, the human body that houses the soul. And you have the intellect, or the higher mind, that is the bridge between the soul and the body to allow you to have an experience within the experience. You can, with your mind, you can create something that another person has never even thought of, and that person can create something that you have never thought of. And if you put those two together, you can make a fucking baby or you can make something that has never been thought of before. And this is how I'm seeing how this whole experience works, this whole realm works. The relationship of the soul, the mind, and the body, or the red, the green, and the blue, if you want to see it from that perspective. Because that's how I'm seeing it. It's the evolution of consciousness on a physical, on a vibratory observation. We're not these simple ass black and white, bogus university system definitions of humanity coming from cavemen and monkeys and dinosaurs and big bangs and all that other shit. It's garbage. It's fake. It's a TV show on a fake TV. So we believe in the TV show on the enslavement television. It's the same shit that happens when the New Age community believes in like the TV show of ancient aliens and so on and so forth. They want to create another way for you to observe yourself. So this is basically how I've been seeing the relationship between the subconscious and the conscious, and the soul, the mind, and the body. The complexities. The real reason why I'm harping on this so much is because the more we can understand the complexities of who and what we are, the more we will be inclined to acknowledge how whitewashed everything has been. Not just in a regular perspective of, like race, white, and all that other stuff, or whatever that is. I'm just talking about the differences in the lack of energy, the lack of acknowledgement and healing, the lack of healing that happens when we don't understand everything and we just take the easy route. It's easy to just say, oh, well, let's just have a peace and loving, lighting perspective, and let's just do that. And you don't think the so-called powers that be are knowing that, and they will set themselves up to be in control of you? Why the fuck do you think Oprah is out there having Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra on her TV shows? Why the hell do you think all these documentaries are coming out at this same time? Why is all this stuff happening? Why? It's not just happening out of nowhere. There's a purpose for it. There's a meaning there. So when we don't understand the relationships with each other, we don't understand how red and green makes yellow and how like all these colors interact. If we only focus on the center of it, then we will be missing out on a big chunk of our reality. And if we only focus on the center of our reality and get lost, we can either get lost in the darkness or we can get lost in the light. You choose. Either way, you're fucking lost. because you didn't empower yourself and challenge yourself to understand the relationships, to take the position of understanding the relationships between all of the colors and the fact that all of this stuff exists and why. It's easy to just choose black or white. That's the easy route. It's difficult to go in within yourself and start to challenge what is beyond this simple ass control grid. So, how I'm seeing it personally, and I didn't make this chart or anything. I don't know if that's, who made this or whatever like this. I'm just using this as an example of energetic observations of possible ways that we can understand the dimensions and experience within dimensions, and tapping into and anchoring energies within this dimension and higher dimensions, so we can understand the root chakra, sacral chakra, and solar plexus chakra, your earth connection, your higher mind that can work with another higher mind and create a baby, and then you have your fire essence. So all of these are artistic expressions of who and what you are based upon the physical reality. Your fire here in this experience, your creation here in this physical reality, and your root connection here in this earth plane. These are all the lower bodies of your existence that are the root systems to everything else, to your higher vibrations. If you do not heal, if you do not acknowledge, if you do not activate these lower chakras, you will not at all be able to tap into the depths of your higher chakras. And if you think you are, which is what the New Age community is largely doing, then you are creating a synthetic, a commercial version of that experience. And yes, you will be activating and tapping into it in some kind of way, but you're really just going to be spiritually masturbating yourself, because you won't be understanding the depths of what comes before that and the meaning and the purpose of that space. It's just jumping all over the place. It's just like creating another ego, just like somebody who was like a department head at Home Depot and then moves up to assistant manager of the store manager or some shit like that, and becomes this complete asshole and starts to fuck everybody over or whatever. Just like that, it's an artificial thing, like it's made up. That person just changed because the god of Home Depot told them, you are something else, so you can start treating other people like this, and they need to treat you like this. It's overall like this is how this whole system works. Control. This is how they make kings. And who's the god? Home Depot's the god. And then those kings are the associate or assistant managers and store managers and shit like that. Whatever it is, you are not who you are. You are what they tell you you are. So we have the lower bodies. We have the bridge, the unconditional love bridge, the heart chakra, the center, the bridge between. We are a manifestation of the light and the dark. So our bridge, our center being that holds that space, that anchor point, is the unconditional anchor or bridge between all that is, which is your heart chakra space. This is why it's so important to love yourself, understand yourself, and tap into your ancestral threads here and now in the earth plane experience in order to activate fully your heart chakra space and truly be unconditional. So once you get into that space, you can get into the higher energies. This is just about opening up channels of energy to yourself, not to any other entity like channelers are doing. This is for yourself, understanding yourself. This is why I say it's so important to tap into more of yourself on every layer. You can't just act like this shit doesn't exist because it's not being talked about by the mainstream media, or it's not whatever it is. Like, you have a meaning and a purpose. There's a reason why your mother and father got together. There's a reason why your grandparents got together, and so on and so forth, all the way through. It's not as basic as just being like, oh, well, they were just, they just hooked up, that's just how it is. Like, that's some simple shit. So anyway, so yeah, you can take this even further, but how I'm saying this is the lower chakras can be understood as the soul, the mind, and the body. So your soul essence is your fire, or your solar plexus. And then your mind is your higher mind that pulls you to another being, and to either create with somebody else artistically or harmonically with bringing in a baby into this place, or the sacral chakra. And then your body, which is built up of the same elements as the earth plane herself, the root chakra. So all of this stuff is its own harmony. And once you balance all of those, you get unconditional. Once you acknowledge and heal, you get into that unconditional space, which is your heart. And then you can start to experience from the higher soul, your higher self. You can speak from your throat chakra instead of speaking from your fucking mouth. You can start interpreting the energies that come through your third eye or your first eye without having to be bombarded by the clutter of the physical eyes, which are your lower spaces. It's the higher mind. You're getting to you're raising vibrations, and then you can take it all the way up even further. Like I said, I don't know who put this image together, but I just used it as an example to interpret or to share what vibrations might look like as we continue to go, and to show how we are not these simple ass African American black and white sort of things that just shat themselves out of a big bang. We're deeper than that. And if we understand that, we'll be able to heal ourselves. And that needs to happen before any kind of revolution or forward progress, all that other shit that people are talking about happens. That needs to be acknowledged. And that's where true healing will happen. That's where true movement will take place. So I just wanted to share this, an energetic perspective on the flat earth, vibrations, the human vibrations, the soul, mind, and body vibrations that relate to this colonial universe, and how we are controlled, and what we can do and are doing. We are doing this in order to break these spells and expand our reality. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.